Imagine controlling more of the world's food supply than any government, wielding a fortune larger than the GDP of over 100 countries, and doing it all without anyone even knowing your name. Meet the Cargill-Macmillan dynasty, a family whose combined net worth tops $60 billion, yet whose members live in near total anonymity. While billionaires flaunt rockets and super yachts, these heirs move in silence, shaping markets, influencing governments, and touching every meal on your table without ever stepping into the spotlight. But how did they build such an invisible empire? And what shadows hide behind their quiet dominance? To uncover the truth, we first need to understand their secret weapon: absolute privacy. It all starts with a fortress built not of stone, but silence. The Cargill story began in 1865, yet most people can't name a single family member, because they've made anonymity their greatest strategy. Today, the family retains 88% ownership of Cargill Inc., the largest privately held company in America, with no public shares and no quarterly earnings calls. They've deliberately avoided media and regulators, training each generation to value secrecy as much as profit. Behind closed doors, family councils decide everything from board appointments to estate plans, ensuring outsiders never see the full picture. By keeping the company private, they dodge shareholder pressure, hostile takeovers, and even intense public scrutiny when controversies arise. Instead of flashy social media posts, they favor private ski chalets, whispered phone calls, and Swiss bank accounts. But this wall of silence can only last so long, especially when allegations start piling up. And those allegations stretch across continents, from the rainforests of Brazil to the cocoa farms of West Africa. Cargill's sprawling operations touch nearly every bite you eat. In 2024, the company hauled in $160 billion in revenue, moving grain, beef, cocoa, palm oil, and more across 70 countries and 125 markets. Their reach isn't just farming. They run shipping lines, fertilizer plants, commodity trading desks, and even financial services. When you pour cereal, pour milk, there's a Cargill link at every step. This vertical integration is their secret sauce. By owning storage elevators, railroads, processing mills, and logistics hubs, they control the full chain from field to fork. That power lets them manipulate prices, outmaneuver rivals, and squeeze out middlemen. It also means that disruptions, from pandemics to war, can send ripples through everything from bread prices in Europe to fish stocks in Asia. And yet, the Cargill heirs never appear on TV to explain their moves. Beneath this influence, however, lies a record marred with controversy. Under the radar doesn't mean above criticism. Over the decades, Cargill has been accused of enabling deforestation in the Amazon, sourcing palm oil linked to jungle clearance, and tolerating forced or child labor in cocoa supply chains. In 2019, an environmental group branded them the worst company in the world for rainforest destruction, and in 2023, a Brazilian court fined them for buying cocoa from farms using child labor. During Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Cargill quietly sold grain to both sides, raising questions about geopolitical ethics. Whenever these storms break, the company manages the fallout behind the scenes, settling lawsuits, issuing guarded statements, and steering regulators away, while family members stay in the shadows. But whispers of ecological ruin and human suffering can't be silenced forever. To truly understand how this empire came to be, warts and all, we must rewind to a much simpler time. In 1865, 20-year-old William Wallace Cargill bought a lone grain warehouse in Conover, Iowa. As the Civil War ended, he saw opportunity in America's vast prairies. By supplying local railroads and expanding to new elevators across Minnesota and Wisconsin, he laid the foundation of a company that would feed continents. His daughter married John H. Macmillan Sr. in 1895, bringing fresh capital and vision. Together, they weathered the Great Depression by diversifying into animal feed and commodity trading, moves that kept competitors in the dust. Through world wars and economic crashes, each generation poured profits back into new ventures. Shipping fleets in World War II, fertilizer plants in the 1950s, oilseed processing in the 1970s, and even financial services by the 1980s. By keeping the firm private, they could invest long-term, unburdened by quarterly earnings targets. Yet those same strategies attracted suspicion and calls for oversight. And now, standing on the threshold of a new era, the next generation faces a world that no longer tolerates silence. The youngest Macmillans and Cargills are an intriguing mix of traditionalists and reformers. Austin Cargill II, a marine biologist by training, leads efforts in sustainable seafood and regenerative agriculture. Gwendolyn Sondheim-Meyer channels her love for equestrian sports into philanthropic grants for rural innovation. David Macmillan pushes the company into digital agriculture, using AI to optimize supply chains. Meanwhile, Alexandra Dietsch fights internally for transparent climate reporting. They've pledged deforestation-free supply chains in South America by 2025 and invested heavily in methane reduction. Yet critics say promises come too slowly. Countries like Bolivia and Paraguay still see forests cleared for soy, and child labor persists in West African cocoa. Can this next generation maintain their family's fortune while steering it toward ethical leadership? Beyond boardrooms and balance sheets, the Cargill-Macmillans spare no expense living in unmatched luxury. Their Still Pond mansion in Hennepin County, Minnesota, is a sprawling lakeside retreat once home to railroad tycoons, now hosting discreet family gatherings amid manicured lawns, Italianate gardens bursting with heirloom roses, and a private boathouse stocked with vintage mahogany speedboats. Elsewhere in Minnesota, an heir paid $9.1 million for a Romaldo Giurgola-designed lakeside villa, complete with terrazzo floors inlaid with gold leaf, vaulted ceilings soaring above hand-engraved iron lanterns, and floor-to-ceiling windows that frame the glassy expanse of the lake like living paintings. Their corporate headquarters itself is hidden behind acres of whispering pines, a 63-room replica of a French chateau where deals are struck in candlelit, wood-paneled salons beneath crystal chandeliers imported from Versailles, and guests retire to a private wine cellar housing 10,000 bottles of first-growth Bordeaux. And far across the Continental Divide in Montana, several family members maintain private ranch estates, complete with adobe-walled main houses decorated with Navajo textiles, equestrian barns echoing with the soft clip-clop of award-winning thoroughbreds, and pheasant-flush fields that stretch to snow-capped peaks, where helicopter drop-offs and guided horseback hunts reaffirm their frontier roots, all while remaining blissfully beyond the reach of prying eyes. Even their philanthropy bears the mark of exclusive taste. The Cargill Foundation funnels millions into cutting-edge agricultural research at Ivy League universities. Think white-glove symposiums in Yale's Gothic halls, where Nobel laureates rub shoulders with heirs apparent, while also underwriting painstaking art restoration projects in Europe, dispatching master conservators to Parisian ateliers to revive 16th-century tapestries and Renaissance frescoes hidden away in Tuscan villas. Their invitation-only galas at Manhattan's Metropolitan Museum of Art are the stuff of legend. Black-tie dinners held under the Temple of Denda, live string quartets echoing through the Egyptian galleries, and private viewings of rarely seen masterpieces, all capped by after-hours soirees on the rooftop overlooking Central Park, where champagne flows from crystal fountains and guests depart in chauffeured limousines. Meanwhile, Cargill Cares Councils mobilize 100,000 volunteer hours annually, but only for causes pre-approved in secret family councils, planting heirloom orchards on private estates in Vermont, funding bespoke water management projects in remote African villages, and underwriting doctoral fellowships in precision agronomy. Attendance is strictly by personal invitation, complete with embossed leather passes and individually numbered keepsake pins, ensuring that both influence and charity stay firmly within the family's tight circle. As demands for corporate transparency and ethical supply chains intensify, will the Cargill-Macmillans step into the light or tighten their circle even further?